think. Go live. There is a thin divide between what is perceived as spiritual and paranormal, for they are forever intertwined throughout time. Traveling within the history of the world, we can find examples of spirituality that involves everything from magic, spirits, gods and goddesses, and seers or people said to be able to speak to the dead. We all have our own belief systems. We all have our own truths. So let us possibly bend those truths a bit with some insights and perspectives that may be a bit different than yours, or even give yourself validation for what you see as true. Come sit with myself and the best of the best in research, teaching, discovery, and practitioners of the day. My name is Bear Medicinewalker, and I welcome you to Spiritually Paranormal. And of course, everything is backwards today, but welcome everybody, and welcome to my very special guest today, Miss Kerry. You were actually, I had all kinds of messages to bring Kerry back, bring Kerry back. We want to talk more about the crystals. We want to talk more about the stones. So that's what we have done here, and I am playing here, and I'm going to say hi to everybody. I see MJ's here, Marlene's here, Rick's here, Hawk's here. Hi, Hawk. And here, hi, Oak Roman. How are you? And Melissa, hi. But one of the things, and you know, I told everybody this, and I've told you this, Kerry. I just think you're one of the better people as far as source goes for crystals and stones, and I trust you and the information you have.
Oh, thank you. That makes me feel warm and cozy.
Well, I think everybody's kind of warm and cozy over there right now anyway.
Well, I'm a little too warm and cozy. I don't really need any more warm and cozy.
Okay, here, feel that breeze. It's coming.
Thank you. Woo, I'm feeling it. Yeah, it's slowly melting over here. But no, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're just like an immense source, and I know you've kind of started this back up kind of more intensely this year. Mm-hmm. And I've actually picked up a few pieces and sent a few pieces over to Bex from you, and they're just amazing. So one of the big things, and I know some of the people that are here watching right now are kind of curious about, and I know, but I want you to explain to them because I'm sending them your way. How do you figure out what stones or crystals that you may need at a particular given time, like say for protection or well-being?
You know what? It is purely down to intuition. You can get a guide from like your chakra points, your chakra colors. So like, you've got your rainbow that runs through. So those areas will give you an idea of color, which will guide you roughly to which crystal you need. But ultimately, it's down to you, what you feel you need. So within that color spectrum, you could have 20 different stones that are within that color spectrum for that chakra point. But for what resonates for you, only you can tell that. I'm a great believer in your body will know what it needs. So you can read hundreds of books on the subject of crystals, and they will all give you lovely meanings. Crystals, were good for this condition or good for that condition. But when you're using it, it's not resonant. You say, oh, well, the book told me this one works for this. It's a guide. See it as a guide. Because at the end of the day, you could pick up that crystal that person has written that book has said, but it doesn't work for you. But it's about resonance. It's about that energy, frequency, vibration. And everybody's energy, frequency, and vibration is so unique and so different. And that's where an energy worker is very good at tuning into that energy vibration. We'll be able to guide you in that way for individual crystals. But like I say, you could have 100 different crystals in that color spectrum, but it's down to individual.
I know some of them, you know, and this is something I also, and I agree with you 100% on what you just said, but I also know from experience from my end that even a stone, say, and I'm just going to use carnelian, for example, okay? Everybody can see that, I hope. And there's different shades of carnelian, actually.
Yeah.
But one carnelian stone might not work the same as another carnelian stone.
Exactly. They're so individual.
They're like people.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the
point. Right? And some of them can be very tiny, can be actually huge energy, and vice versa. Like, so, you know, I guess, well, okay. Oh yeah, I'm hearing stuff too in my head. So I gotta go with what I'm hearing too. And do you believe that there are also male energy stones and female energy stones? Like, say I had a whole pile of carnelian, okay? Would you, and you put your hand over it, would you sense that some of them had more male, masculine energy and some had feminine energy?
Yeah, there's definite resonances of that within the crystal world. But when it's important to know, when we talk about masculine and feminine, we're not talking about gender, we're talking about qualities. And there's a very distinct difference between the two there. So when we talk of masculine and feminine, we're talking about the necessary of balance of both within all of us. We all have that masculine and feminine energy. And there are times where we'll sway more over to a feminine energy or sway more to a masculine, and crystals are no different. See them as people. That's what I've always said to everybody. You were dead right when you said they're so individual. Every piece is so individual that it's like a million people on this planet that we just don't have the capacity to talk to like I talk to you, but we do have a capacity to connect through our energy fields with them. But they're just like people, so they will have those traits. And if you work closely, particularly with carvings, if you go into the carving realm, like a crystal skull or something like that, you'll notice that they have distinct personalities, very distinct personalities.
This one does. I got this one from you, and I sit and I do the live stream reads and stuff, and this is like a masculine energy skull that you sent me, and it's very different from my other stones, and I can't hold him in my left hand. He's got to be in my right hand.
Yeah, you know what? I love seeing I say my crystals. They're not mine once they've left me, but I love re-seeing them in their home. Do you know what I mean? That to me is just brilliant. When people send me photographs of things they've bought from me and it's in their environment and they're using them how they're using them, oh, honestly, that warm little feeling is just brilliant. I've seen, and I love it. So if you do buy a crystal from me and you put it in a grid or something, feel free to send me a message with a photo, because I love that. Because I've looked after them for a little while, or sometimes quite a long while, before they found their next guardian. And I just loved seeing them in their next environment. Oh, please send me photos if you buy crystals from me. Not other people's crystals, but the ones you bought from me, obviously.
Well, this one, he thinks he's all that in a bag of chips.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And again, I can't hold him in my left hand for whatever reason, and I'll ask you about that in a sec. And he's like all the time. It's constant downloading. It's constant chirping in my ear. But I have to toss him around in my hand. Okay. When I got him from you, like, you know, I do, at least with any stones, no matter where they come from, I always cleanse them first. So
of course.
I cleansed him, and he definitely told me it was a him. And I can't even tell. He fidgets. Like, I don't do this. I'll hold stones. Like, I have other stones, like say I have a infinite stone, right?
Mm.
And when I do healing work, I have that in my hand. I've got a few pieces of it, and I love this stone. It's very hard to find, and at least here. But it doesn't chatter like this one does.
Mm.
This one literally never shuts up. So I want to thank you for that, because not only do I have spirit chattering in my ears now I have a little skull chattering. And he's just like, he thinks he's all that in the bag of chips. So what is the purpose? Like, what are some of the reasons that when I hold, excuse me, I hold stones, they only want to stay in my right, or they only want to stay in my left side?
Depends on what energy they're channeling through. So when you're doing your work, we tend to say left comes through from the past and future goes through to the right. So you've got that flow that goes through. And although time isn't linear, that's sort of how it flows through the linear in the human body. So if you're getting energy coming from the back, that tends to be the more other realms, like angelic energy or those type of energies. So we say if you're drawn to the left, then it's past and going forward through into your right, which is future. So that's where your line of timeline goes. So that gives you an indicator when you're working with energy of what needs to be healed. So if you're coming in from the left, it's a past trauma, and if you're or an ancestral trauma, something like that will come through. And if you're going through into the future, it's making sure that you clear that blockage just so you don't push it through into the future.
Here's a good question from Paula. And of course, because I got to read it right, and I got to put my glasses on because I'm on the tablet today. And I apologize, guys. I don't have my big screen today. Give me time to get through it. I had to sit in this chair today because my back is not well today. All right. So do stones choose you or vice versa? Good question.
That's a very good question, because it's a very difficult one to answer, because I've had stones that have chosen me straight away.
That's why I have Kerry.
Yeah, straight away, that's for you. Yeah, and that's not come from me. That's them going, I'm here, I'm the one. And this could happen down a beach as well. You know what I mean? So don't just think in terms of crystals. You're just thinking in terms of crystals, rocks, minerals, So you could be walking down the beach. You could see hundreds of stones, right? One is going to pop out and you've got to touch it. That's it choosing you. That's it going, hello, I'm here. When you go into a crystal shop and you go, right, I want to go buy a crystal, I'm going to buy a pretty crystal today. You could look through the whole shop and not find one that resonates with you. So I do think it's a two-way street. I think part of it is what you need, what your aura and your energy is emitting, and also what the crystal is connecting to as well. Because if they don't want to work with you, they won't.
Oh yeah,
that's it. They will back off. And I've had dormants. I've got, you can imagine my crystal collection is quite extensive, my personal crystal collection. But I've got ones that have remained dormant for quite a long time, because at the time when I bought them, it was resonating me for whatever reason. It did its work, and now it's dormant. It doesn't want to move on from me, because you'll know when they want to move on as well, which is why you see a lot of transitioning with crystals. And if you're stubborn about letting them go, they tend to disappear.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
Another thing they tend to do is, like, I'll get them, and like you said, I'll do work with them, and then I'll have them out and say I have a client come to the house, or I have a family member or a friend come to the house, and it's like they aren't in an obvious place, but they find them.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my gosh, this is so gorgeous. And I hear in my head, yep, not mine anymore. So off we go.
Off you go. It could be your favourite crystal in the entire world, but it wants to go, it will go. So I do think with that question, it is a two-way street. But it's an energetic connection. It's not actually about conscious decision. So you may go to a shop to buy a crystal, but you may come out without one if one hasn't chosen you. Do you see what I mean? Or your energy is not right for the crystals that are in the shop.
Oh yeah, I've done that many times where when I lived downstate, there were a couple places that I really enjoyed going to. This was like in my youth, in my 20s and 30s. Seems like forever ago, and not. But I would go in, and that was my intent. Was I went in and I wanted to buy a rock, a stone, a crystal, a gem, whatever, and absolutely would walk out so frustrated because whatever it was I was like hoping to find was not there.
Exactly.
And I think we have to almost honor that. Rihanna said here she's got some selenite and uses it for healing.
Yeah. Oh, selenite. If you've got a wand of selenite or a wing or whatever it is that you want to use, you can sweep your aura and get rid of all the nasties. It really is. It's great for opening up that universal energy channel between you and up above. It's great for angelic connection as well. So selenite is fantastic. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense with Rihanna because Rihanna works with the angels. So you saying that kind of affirms that. She does a lot of work with the angelics. Another purpose for selenite and why I have carried it since I was young is it helps spinal conditions. And I have carried it with me or had it in my home near my bed, I always carry a chunk of it in my pants pocket because, and it usually comes in, the pieces that I get are like long and narrow. They're almost not a wand, but they're like almost look like a ruler, but they're flat and I don't know how you call them. But I've been amazed at when I take it away and don't use it, how much pain comes back. Mm-hmm. So then I have to recharge them and recycle them every month, like under the moon. But to me, because this is something that goes so far back, through different centuries and different cultures, people have used stones, gems, crystals for eons. There's got to be some truth basis to it, yeah?
Oh, God, yeah. I tell you, I just don't know where I would be without crystals and minerals. I mean, they're not the cure-all, don't get me wrong. You're not going to they're not going to cure you, but they definitely help. And I don't work in a physical healing way. I said that before. I deal with the other three areas mainly. I don't like to get into the physical healing. But you'll find if you've got a physical condition, the crystal that works best for that condition will come to you naturally. It's not a forced process. And this is the other thing. Think of it in terms, like I said, energy, frequency, and vibration. It is all about that. It is all about allowing that flow to happen and allow that flow between yourself and that crystal. And that is where the trick to working with crystals is. You're not commanding it. You are working alongside it. So it's like you would if it was a partner. So you want to get that energy exchange, which is what it is between your pretty crystal and you. You want to get that energy exchange flowing between you in a very natural way. See it as like your best mate. That's really what it's about. Talk to them. Tell them what you want or what's worrying you or where you're hurting or whatever. With my crystal collection, I'm forever jabbering away out there. Forever jabbering away. My kids think I'm absolutely bonkers when I'm in my crystal room because I'm chatting away and then I'm like I've got some new skulls in that haven't been put up. So and I'll be like this little one here. And I'll be like, so come on then. What are you like?
Put it back up. Put it back up.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, one I saw that that's cool. I like that one a lot. The one I want is the one that it's split in the middle. It's one color on one side and a light on one side and dark on the other side. Oh, that one's gorgeous too, though.
That's sold. That's a tiger's eye you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. I figured it was.
Sorry.
I figured it was as soon as I saw it. That's why I got in touch with you and got those hedgehogs because I've never seen anything like those hedgehogs. And I was very excited about those hedgehogs. And I'm like, okay, well, I've been slipping here because I haven't been on Facebook for a bit. And now I missed out. That's why I sent you that message. And again, you guys will see on the bottom scrolling, where you can get in touch with Kerry and check out all the crystals that she has and puts up every week or so. She's got stuff running over there. And I can tell you, I mean, I used to do this. This used to be part of my living. I worked with stone and crystal wholesalers and gemologists, and I used to pull this stuff into my studio, and I don't do that anymore. But Kerry has got all that in a bag of chips, so you guys need to check it out over there at her site. Yeah, but talking to them now, you don't use them for healing work. I have always used them. That's what I was called to do with them. That's what they talked to me about. So what is it that you utilize yours for?
We break it down into 4 areas. You've got your spiritual, emotional, physical, and mental areas. And I kind of deal with the other 3, not the physical. But this goes back to where I started my spiritual journey. And I said I didn't want to do physical healing. But what they did was they said, right, fine, well, you can deal with the other 3 areas, but physical will make you, that's not the right word, we'll give you the tools to help the healers that do the physical. So although I know a little bit about it, I'm not an authority on physical healing, but give me the other 3 areas and I'm all over that. But that was personal preference about how I wanted my spiritual journey to go on. I didn't want to get involved with the physical healing. It wasn't something that resonated with me. And I think other people can do that so much better.
But that's what's important to understand is the fact that you have to do what you're called to do. We're all different. And, there's a couple things that I've been really preachy about in the past few months. One is the paranormal is, as far as spirit, is around us 24/7. You don't have to go into a dark house or a nighttime place to have spirit around you. I actually was having a discussion with somebody last night, and they said, do you know that because they were watching me like we are here, it was a virtual conversation, and they said to me, do you realize that you have spirit like standing right behind you? And I'm like, yeah, probably. And it's like,
part of the course.
Okay. And I said, well, I had people here a couple weeks ago, some kids, young ones, and one of the comments they made was the energy in the house, right, is so empowering and strong. Well, it's probably because I have crystals and stones, and I pulled out this big, huge thing of stones. And I said, it's because I work with spirit. Okay. So one of my big things that I've been pushing is spirits around us all the time, 24/7, doesn't matter. And crystals, rocks, and gems can assist us, not cure us. That's not what I'm saying. They can assist us in so many ways and help us to be the best people that we are. And I think with what you have, again, like momentum wise, come back to do again at the same time is like a validation for me to see and say, okay, here's Miss Kerry. Y'all are asking about stones and crystals and what to do. Here's Miss Kerry. She's got these. She will assist you in finding what you need. And it's important. I know I'm sounding really preachy right now. I'll get off the soapbox in a minute. But it's important right now, especially, that we all go back to the core of who we are as humans and rely on some of the old traditions and rituals and ceremonies and practices that we have forgotten.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. We got used to it's funny. It's a funny old time because we're sort of in a transitional time, and we're starting to realize that the old structures and the old cultural ways of doing things are not always working for whatever reason. And I don't believe in the nefarious conspiracy theory, but they're not working. How it's been set up is not working, and it's really showing its head. Old methods have worked for billions of years. Oh, I say billions, we haven't been around for that long, but thousands and thousands of years. So utilize those tools. They're natural, they're out there. As I say, you can spend a fortune on crystals, but it'll be the one on the beach that might be the one that works for you the best. So get out in nature. Start finding what your authenticity is, your soul purpose, your own integrity. Find that out. Forget what everybody else has told you. Feel it for yourself. That is what we need to be doing. We had that breathing space. World is starting to kick back off again. Life is picking up again. But don't forget those lessons we learned from ourselves when we had time to breathe.
Absolutely 100%. Now, next question. When you go into your room that's full of crystals and stones, do you feel a different energy level in there with them?
Totally. And everybody says they do when they come round. Oh, they did when they used to come round. They can't come round at the moment. But yeah, oh, totally. Because all my energy work I do in that room, whether it's crystal gridding or whether or not it's intention work or spell work or, ritualistic magic, any of the work that I do in that room. And I'm very lucky because it's actually just a conservatory, no biggie. But where I've planted a tree, it's like shades the conservatory, so it gets the energy from like the sun and the moon energy without having that intensity of light, which can fade certain crystals. So they're all beautifully charged all of the time. So you can imagine it's like you walk in there and it's like zing, when you walk in there. And it's just amazing, even if I do say so myself. But people comment on it when they come round, or they did. They haven't been round this year. I've been very lonely this year. No.
You're not lonely. I just laugh at everybody, and I know you're laughing. You say that being funny, but I look at people, and somebody said to me a couple weeks ago, I hate this. I don't see anybody. And I said, well, that's really funny. You haven't called me. I mean, we can sit and do this. We can sit. I've had meals with a few people and just sat and talked like you would if you were at a restaurant. And it's like, this is a safe way of doing it. I mean, I do this with you guys across the pond all the time. And so telling everybody, making a statement that we're alone and we don't like it, y'all have to think outside the box right now.
Oh, hell yeah, definitely.
Outside the box, yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with this. I think if it was going to happen at any time, we're in the most ideal opportunity time for it to happen, because we have Zoom and we have Skype and we have phones and we have video calls and whatever the iPad FaceTime thing going on and Facebook and stuff like that. I get that there is nothing like actual human physical connection. Get that. Totally understand that. But I want that with no disrespect to any of my friends out there, I want that with my family. And I can't do without my family connection, my bubble of my family. I can do this with my friends all day long. But for actual physical, seeing them in the flesh, I keep my bubble very small with my family. That's important to me. So that's how you've got to think. You've got to think in terms of bubble. And then when you go outside that bubble, you do this. You have meals online and stuff like that, and talk and reach out. Nobody calls me. Called anybody recently? Have you messaged them? Have you done that? You've got to, it's again, we go into two-way street. It's a flow, isn't it? A flow of energy between people. And I've always said this though, your people will come and go throughout your life all the time. It's like a roller coaster. People get on, people get off, and you're the one driving the roller coaster. Some people come into your life and they serve a purpose or a time, but then that time moves on and you move on and they move on and you learn and evolve and change, and everybody's going through that process. So you're like bubbles, like going back to the bubble analogy, colliding and then going off and then meeting new people and colliding with other bubbles. We have got an amazing tool in the internet these days to reach out and make new friends. If they don't resonate, you move on and find somebody else. It's actually a more opportunistic time for that than ever. Go back 100 years, they didn't have any of this. You were literally in your village or in your town, and that was the people you knew for the whole of your life.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I talk to, you over in Michigan. I've got, I was talking to somebody in Chicago the other day, and Australia, Sarah Chemicero down in Australia. I never would have been in touch with those people if it wasn't for, firstly, my interest, crystals and minerals and paranormal. I won't be talking to those people. Never would have spoken to those people. Now I get to do that, and that's freaking amazing. That is such a gift. Think of that in terms of a gift.
It's a blessing, and that's what I keep telling people. Everybody, and it's funny because today the card that came up in the 7th spot was grandfather's son, and it was about embracing life and thinking outside the box and looking at your blessings, because if you look at your blessings and literally, and it may sound cliche, but I remember my grandmother, count your blessings, you count your blessings and you're happy with that, you're going to attract more of that. If you focus on the negatives and you focus on the past of things that were bad or didn't turn out the way you wanted to, it's all about the spin and how you look at things. It's all about the lessons we learn from that. And if people would do more of that, they wouldn't be so grumpy.
No, but I will say this. It's important to go through the process of negativity. So if you have a bad situation, there is no way in the first initial hit of that situation occurring, you can go, let me find the lesson in this. You know what I mean? There's no way.
No, but when you're looking back at it, you can,
yeah, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and that's where the lesson lies, the hindsight of it. And that's the saying, isn't it? You have to go through that process. It's that part of that learning experience of self-reliance and self-independence and inner strength. That we've all come across things in life where we don't ever think we're going to get through this. In whatever level that's hit you, I'm not going to achieve what I need to achieve. I don't know, even down to being homeless, to then picking your life back up and moving through it, or a death that affects you. You don't ever see beyond that initial point of that moment because it's so intense and so bad. But
that's a human experience. That's what we're here to do.
Exactly. So it's important to allow that process of negativity to happen. Just try not to wallow in it. And there's the lesson. You have to deal with the blows that life throws at you, but that's the process, because it will evolve, it will change. Have faith. It might last a long time. We're not saying it's 5 minutes later it's going to be all done and dusted. It could take a year process, to work through that and learn the lessons from that and grow from that and evolve through that. That process can take years. So don't put that pressure on yourself that got to be positive, got to see the blessings in this, you know what I mean? Because that's not the human experience. But as long as you're aware that it is a process, it is an evolution, it will change, and you need to do what you can do to get through that moment, each individual moment at a time. And it is about getting through them, not
question.
Exactly.
I have another question.
Okay.
Can stones, crystals, rocks, whatever, hold negative residual energy?
They can hold on to it. Yeah, they'll take it and hold on to it until they get rid of it. They've got to get rid of it themselves.
They have to get rid of it themselves. We can't do anything to encourage that?
No, because you put them through that process where you're allowing them to have that breathing space to get rid, which is what your cleanse and charge thing is. It's the same as again, go back to the human. Had a bad day at work, you can't go from being really annoyed and all that negativity to I'm okay now, I can do another day's work. You need that time to process that, get rid of it, whether it be a bath, a walk, cuddle on the sofa with your loved ones, half an hour with your book, whatever it is that you do to shake off the day. Crystals are the same, but we do it in a different way. So we'll use soil or water or rice or incense or light or whatever it be, and then you recharge yourself, don't you? So you'll have a meal and you'll you know, you'll feel fresher for the day, the next day ahead. Crystals are the same. They need light, they need energy, they'll need food. Effectively, their food is light spectrum, whether or not that's lunar light or solar light, it's still the light spectrum. So again, see it as a form of process. If they've done a lot of work on a intense healing session and they've taken away some of that pain, they've got to release that pain. So you've got to go through the cleansing session.
Yeah, I never really thought of it in that thought process. You're absolutely right. Okay, so show us some of the stuff, and I know you've got some stuff there in front of you. Show us some of the stuff, because I told you better bring it, that you have, and tell us, like, what it, well, okay, you know, you were showing the skull, right? And the skull was really cool. You've got some really unique carved pieces. Now, when you choose them from your person that you buy them from to get them to us, what is your process? Do you just resonate with them, or do they talk to you? Or, because I know my stones, and even when I see them on you, it's like me. I've got the little Buddha too that I got from you, who's small but mighty. Like, oh my gosh, he laughs all day. So that's whenever I need, seriously, whenever I need joy or laughter, I bring out the little Buddha, and that's all he does is he laughs at me all day. So, you know, at some point you have to start laughing at yourself. So, I mean, you know, what process do you go through to choose what you choose?
Oh, it's an amazing process. I love it.
But that's okay.
Legitimate shopping for crystals. Come on now. I mean, it's, you know, I can sit here and go, oh, you know, no, basically what happens is I get in front of my supplier like this at the moment, and I go, right, what we got? And he'll go, oh, you know, well, I've got this, this, and this, and this. And I'll go, okay, show me some pieces. And he'll bring up like one or two, and I'll be like, no. And then it'll be like, that one. Just because all of a sudden there's like a ping, and I can't explain that feeling beyond that. And you talk Buddhas, I've actually got some bigger Buddhas in at the moment. So like I've got this little rose quartz one.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, I've got a couple of those in at the moment. But I feel
if you guys are looking for a stone, a Buddha will bring some interesting things into your life. I will tell you that. Any Buddha that I have been drawn to, that rose quartz one's really nice too. But it's like I can't even, have you worked with Buddha? Have you done a lot of work with Buddha?
I have worked with him a little, not extensively, but I find him very useful in regards to your home environment. If you're needing to do work in regards to your home environment for whatever purpose that is, and I was working with him in regards to protection, I was having trouble. I'd been working with some Romany gypsy people, and their spirit people weren't very happy because I'm not of their culture, shall we say. And I came home and there was a spirit, stood in my front room, like big burly bloke, like stood there, and I'm like, okay, a little scary. So I wanted to like increase my protections around my house. So I was working with Buddha in regards to that, and really helped me in regards to that. Also incredible in regards to Feng Shui energy, the flow of energy around your home. That is a thing. Don't dismiss that as a Chinese thing. It is a thing. It's so important to have the correct flow, is all I can say. It's about the flow. I mean, I know we're all restricted because we can't build our houses how we would actually like them, so we buy them. But the placement of items in the home is even down to where you light and stuff can make such a difference if you're having a bad experience in the home. So definitely look at Feng Shui. So Buddhas are great for that. They're great for bringing those kind of dealing with those kind of bigger issues. They like a big a very big issue to deal with. They'll get their teeth into in true God form, shall we say. And they're idols. So you worship them, a Buddha. You give them that respect. And actually, it's the little legend is if you rub their little tummies, crystal tummies, then they're supposed to bring good fortune. I love that, apparently. If you rub their little tummy.
I bet he does. I just love him because
You're
the
like,
whole
rub his little tummy.
he comes into my life when I need to not be so serious. And he'll come and you have to understand, folks who are watching this, I hear as well as see. So when I hear him, he's like, I don't want you to be so serious. And he'll make fun of me, right? Yeah. Until I'm like laughing so hard, I'm like, stop, just stop. And he's like, well, your day's better now, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, just stop. And it's all about the joy and where you find the joy. And so, yeah, but rubbing his tummy, I haven't tried that.
Try that.
Right now,
when he's being super silly, try rubbing his belly and making him laugh.
Yeah. Well, he's all about the green, too.
Yeah, money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Prosperity, wealth.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you can get a jade Buddha, if you can get hold of a jade Buddha, like a proper jade Buddha, real jade, good quality jade is incredibly expensive. If you're getting jade and it's cheap, then it's a really low grade or it's not. Okay, that's all I would say on that one. Properly carved, high grade jade is expensive. Worth it is expensive though.
Okay, let's see some more. What else you got in your little bag of tricks there?
Ammonite is very, very prevalent at this time of year because certain crystals will resonate with the element that's going around at the moment. So we had ammonite as a symbol. So I got this one. This is a green opal. Ammonite is huge, actually. Oh, wow. It is stunning. The photos just don't do this justice. This is the other side of it. Can I get it closer?
Wow.
Wow. There we go.
That's beautiful.
So
that's a big chunk of that. Wow.
It's a big piece. See, the other thing is I like a bargain, me. I like a good price for crystals. I don't like to over charge people if I can help it. You know, I never do that like consciously. And if I see a deal, I'll snap it. I'll snap the deal up and pass that saving on. So I don't overcharge like some shops. I haven't got overheads like some shops do. So I can do that. I've got that capacity to do that. Yeah, so when I saw this piece, it resonated so perfectly with the energy that was around at the time of this. And the symbol was really relevant as well. Because I say certain elements will resonate with certain crystals and certain festivals of the year, like Mabon's coming up, isn't it, in September? Yep. You know, there'll be a market specifically for the crystals and the element that resonate with that. So these crystals were for the one that's just gone. It's so hot. Lamaze. I can't even think of it. It's so hot.
Here, I'm fanning again.
Thank you. Melting. Okay. So, yeah, so this one came into my possession then, and it's all about nurturing. All about nurturing. It's like the most nurturing crystal you can have. And the process with the ammonite is about that circle, that ever increasing, decreasing circle of evolution that we go through. And you're always up and down on the spiral. You're never like, it's never a constant ascension because you use like one step forward, 2 steps back. We always do that in life, don't we? If you have to relearn the lesson, you might go down the spiral a bit. If you've ascended beyond that, then you go back up it. It's the snakes and ladders of the
spiral. It reminds me of a labyrinth.
Pardon?
It reminds me of a labyrinth, walking through a labyrinth.
Have you ever done a labyrinth healing?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Astonishingly powerful.
Yes. It will, if anybody ever gets the opportunity, I actually had there, the one that I walked was actually in a cemetery here in Michigan. And it was in the center of it, like as a garden for people to come and sit, like a memory garden type of a thing. And it was the most powerful thing, probably up in my top 10 of most powerful things that I've come across and actually been able to kind of participate with and interact with. Yeah, that's when I saw that, that's what reminded me of that. It's that same type of journey that you can have with a piece like that.
Yeah.
Because it helps you to discover who you are, where you're going, where you've been, how to deal with stuff. And like you said, it's just like slip and slide. You go forward, you might go back a little bit, you might go forward more. So that's a really beautiful, important piece. Amazing piece.
Mm-hmm. And
show me what else. Show me what else.
Oh, okay. I'm going to show you this.
I'm excited.
Can you guess what it is? Yeah.
Wow.
I want to put some light into your life, then you want to be working with this one. This is apophyllite.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah. The light play throughout this. Apophyllite is amazing crystal to work with. And this really does lift you to heights above, we talk about higher alignments. You want a clear channel. Apophyllite is the one you need to use.
Wow, that is awesome.
That's going to move on.
What does it look like? Is on the bottom of it?
It's on the rock matrix.
Wow. Okay, so does it grow like that then from?
Yeah. So what they've done is they've dug that out in a geode, and then the geode gets split. And the same as amethyst, it grows in geodes or in veins,
right?
In things. So like this is a piece of amethyst.
Beautiful.
Right. So if you look at I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
You can see the layers. So you've got the rock, and then it goes into like a matrixing, and then you've got where the crystal formation goes through, and then where the heat process has gone through, it gives it that purple, and the inclusion of mineral is what gives the color.
Isn't that amazing?
It's fantastic.
So many amazing natural things that are here on the earth that people just that other piece you just had up before that, I've never seen that before.
So crystals are born in the same way humans are born. It's just their process takes a hell of a lot longer. It's all chemical reaction and interconnectiveness. And they get born. And then when they come to like human hands, they might get broken up because it's coming in a massive geode and it gets broken up, or, we break into the vein and we're taking out individual points or crystals or whatever. But they'll come out the earth as they're meant to be born. And, that's the point of that. And if it's a mass, like rose quartz will come in like a great big masses, you can get some amazing pieces in solid crystals or rose quartz, and that's where your carving comes through. And when you look at that, that's been carved and polished out of a chunk of raw crystal. This is the Buddha again. But when you think of that as being as a mass, and then some human has taken this and created that, there's no conscious thought of, I know what I'll do is I'll buy a great big chunk of rose quartz specifically to carve a load of Buddhas out of. It's a materialistic thing, but that is what
I can tell you from experience, because some people know it, but some people don't. I'm also an artist, and I've been through art school a long time ago, through college and what have you. And I learned a lot of different things. And one of the things that I did was I went and I learned how to cut gems and stones, like turquoise and, different stones. But I also learned carving on stones. And it is not in any sense of meaning easy to carve a stone. If they use machines, it's totally different. But because like stuff what you have, is so individual. Those are all hand carved. Like, I can tell you, looking at this and the skull I got from you, these are hand carved. And when you carve stuff like this, you have to, and I always call it putting yourself in the zone.
Yep.
So you have to be, it's really funny because that's the way artwork is. When you do artwork, and I've done it all my life, is you have to put yourself in the zone, and you're halfway in between. I always say you're in the world of in between, because I'm not aware of what's going on. I'm only focused on what I'm working on. And carving is one of the things that I have done, and whether it's wood, whether it's stone, whether it's crystals, you have to let them tell you the story.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you get a Buddha looking like a blob, or a deer head that looks like a bear. You know what I mean? There's no sense. You have to allow the piece of raw, whatever you're using, to speak to you and tell you that story. So that's why I just love the work and rocks and stones and crystals that you're bringing through right now for people to be able to get. That's a gift, to be able to do that and offer that so that other people can obtain some of these pieces. Because the pieces you have, to me, they're just like, their energy. I always know, it's really funny because I'll get on and I'm like, oh, Kerry's on. And I'm like, looking, I'm like, yep, there she is. And I shouldn't be watching this because I'm going to want to buy the whole store, because they just sing to you. You're going to make me poor. I know that. You're going to make me poor.
So many people say that to me. Like, I can't watch anymore. And then they'll be back the next week. So I'm not supposed to be watching. I'm not supposed to be. I'm really grateful that these people do watch and buy my things. I'm really grateful for that.
Oh, no. We're all grateful to you, because when we get the pieces, it's like, holy crow. I just, and I've got that one coming yet that's on its way to me. And I'm like, I can hear it screaming in the post already. And I mean, I saw that and it was like, I have got to, and it wasn't, I have to have it because it's a material object. That's not it. For me, at least for me, they speak to me in a way that says, I have work to do with you. So you need to bring me home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Kerry, I could just, okay. And that last piece, I even told you, I said, if it's here in a couple of weeks, I'm going to pick it up.
They'll wait for people.
Yeah, it waited.
It does. They do. As I say, I can have the most amazing crystal, and I think, oh, that's going to fly. And it will sit there 6 months, 8 months. And I'll be like, why haven't you sold? Can't understand it. And it's because it hasn't found the right guardian yet.
Where's the dragon heads? You got a couple of the dragon heads sitting there with you?
Oh, no, they're out in the room. The nearest I've got, I didn't pick a dragon head up, actually. I picked a snake up. Where are we?
Oh, wow. Gorgeous.
A tiger's eye snake.
Oh my gosh. Look at it. Oh, wow.
Oh, God, I'm not very good with this on this camera.
Oh, that's all right. It's beautiful. Look at that.
And it's got like the infinity symbol in the bottom. Oh, where are we? There we go.
That is gorgeous.
And then he sits. I've got two different ones. I've got, I think, an amazonite and then the tiger's eye one. Beautifully carved. Absolutely stunning. I've got hearts coming up this weekend, everybody, for my showcase. So if you're interested in hearts, then hearts it is on the showcase. And the following week is clusters. And then I'm going on holiday for a few days with the kids. Oh,
that's okay. Yeah, that snake you just showed us, that's mine.
Oh, the snake.
Yeah, that's mine. I don't care if I'm on my show. That's mine. That ain't going nowhere. That's coming here. So, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. But you've got to put up your dragon heads, because I know of people that are really into dragons. And I saw those. And I think you had one. It looked like jet, maybe. It was black.
to be fair, I've got so many that I haven't put up yet that I cannot even remember what I've got out there. I've got so many. It'll all come. It'll all unfold in time. I put up a sneaky peek the other day, and some pieces flew out the door. They flew out the door.
That got me in trouble. So yeah, but no, that snake's coming home to bear.
Honestly, that sneaky peek was because I was running out of room, and I've still got more coming. That's the worst bit about it, is I know what's coming, and that hasn't arrived yet, because I have supplies around the world. I don't just have UK supplies. I have.
Oh no, I know. That's how I used to
supplies around the world.
I had because I did physical healing work. One of the stones that and you got to remember, this was back in the early 2000s. Okay, I had my studio from 2004 to 2010. Okay, until my physicality's kind of washed out. And it was a physical studio. So now I do everything online. But I did healing work, and people would just come in. It's really funny because when I say my studio, it was an art studio, but it was more than that. And I would do readings in there as well. But I always, the oddest walk of life people would come into my place. Like I would get people that worked for auto companies, and men that would be, and they're like, they walk in, we don't know why we came in here, but and then they'd wind up staying for like an hour, And it's because they were fascinated with the crystals or the stones. And the healing work I did was with green amethyst, okay, which is really difficult to find green amethyst crystals anymore. I have several suppliers that I work with, and they just they're just not out there. And if you find them, you better grab them, kind of a thing. And the energy and the healing, but it was like a soft healing. And I don't know if have you ever worked with them before?
Yeah.
It's like a soft healing energy, but it's really strong, but it starts small and it just kind of radiates out.
Yeah.
And I used to work with that all the time. And anybody that has an illness, this was a stone that I was called to use by spirit with these people that would seek me out. And like I said, they would come in and find me thinking it was an art studio, but coming in for other reasons, sit down and talk, and this is what it is. So this is how you find yourself, like when Kerry's saying, listen to the stones, let them talk to you, let them resonate with you, to do the work you're meant to do with them. And Kerry's the best supplier ever to find and have help with. If you need help finding what you're looking for, she's the one to go to.
I do try. I think I have got like a little talent of putting the right crystal with the right person. If I get enough of information, or sometimes a photo helps. If you want to buy a gift for somebody, send me a photo, and I'll generally be able to go, oh, how about this? And you'll be like, oh my God, I never would have thought of that. And it's like, tends to be the crystal. But one thing I will say on that, it's really hard, as you said, to get a green amethyst prasiolite. It's incredibly difficult. You can get the heat treated stuff that's gone through that process. It's not the same. But what you can do is meld crystal energy. So you could get an amethyst, couple that with, let's say, a jade, and it will be a very, very similar energy. It's not the same because it's obviously you're melding two different crystals, but you can meld crystal energy to get a specific energy signature for the treatment that you want. So that's, if you can't get the crystal like prasiolite, then there are other options. You can sort of work around it a little bit. That's handy to do. But yeah, it's a fascinating world. And I learn all the time from the crystals. It's just never ending. And it brings me into contact with so many amazing people.
Yeah, you just have to listen to them.
You just have to learn to listen.
Yeah, they'll guide you to what you need. And and I don't know why, but green amethyst is the example, I guess, that they're giving me right now. But stones can help you in so many different ways. And the green amethyst, they were points, which are like really rare now. And they were from, I want to say Rio is where they came from.
That sounds about right.
I had gone to a gemology show, and I found them, and somebody had them like in the back in a case, and they were point, and they were like that big, so they were 4 inches. Beautiful, beautiful points, kind of like the citrine point, right? This is the size they were, that and a little smaller. And I had one of my own that I always had on, and I went somewhere and a woman was not feeling well, and I kept telling her I felt it was like something wrong with her heart. And I told her to check with the doctor. She wound up having a heart attack, not a good heart attack, a very bad, well, not that any heart attack's good, but it was a very strong heart attack. And I wound up driving back to where she was 3 hours to give her, because this is what they told me to do, the crystal I had. And I took it to her and she wore it, and she wore it. She wound up having to have open heart surgery. They didn't think she was going to make it. And she asked them to be able to take that in with her. And the surgeon thought it was fine, no problem. They wrapped it and had it with her. And she still carries it to this day, and they still don't know why she's walking. So, power of suggestion, perhaps. Power of suggestion and the crystal and the work the guy did, probably a combination. But I don't doubt the power of suggestion that crystals and stones can have.
Yeah.
I have a piece that I want to show you. This piece, I worked with a woman whose mother was very ill. And this was back in probably 2010, 2009. This has been a long time ago. And we assisted with the transition, okay, because her mom was passing. And this is what was left for me from her mother. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh, my goodness, wow.
These are all individual animals, birds from the tribes. This is a Zuni necklace, all hand carved. And of course, they're bears, right? And then the bear at the bottom.
Oh, hell yeah.
And this is over 70 years old.
Wow.
That they know of. It was in her family for over 70 years, but for sure it's at least 70 years old. The energy that comes off of this, I can't even wear it. And I walk with a lot of energy, but it is so strong. I tried to wear it at a gathering, and this again, I haven't been anywhere in a long time because of my back, but I tried to wear it, and people were like, wow, what do you have going on? It was like too much to be around you today. You know what I mean? So you have to learn how to talk to them to calm them down. Because a lot of them, and like this has obsidian in it. It has turquoise in it. It has jade on it. It has rose quartz on it. Has serpentine on it. The big black bear on the bottom is jet.
Yeah.
You could feel it's really super light. But I mean, it's got all these fish and birds and a woodpecker and all kinds of things carved on it. So know that these things that Miss Kerry brings to you are amazing and have amazing energy. And when you go out at the end of the day, when you get them from her or wherever you get them, respect them, honor them, and give them the space that they need.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll give you back 100-fold, man. They'll give you back 100-fold, whatever you need.
Definitely. I agree with that.
All right. Well, I can't believe it, but we are already at an hour. I love having you here, and I'm going to make you promise you'll come back again soon.
Yeah, of course. Anytime you want. Anytime you want.
Well, I know there's so many questions and people that people have and people will bring up and they'll think of as soon as we're off air and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to know this or I want to know that. So again, if you need to get in touch with Kerry or you have questions about the crystals or the gems and the stones that she has or doesn't have, and maybe you can perhaps find them for you, make sure you touch base with her on her page or inbox her over there and watch for her weekly, videos that you post with the
Yeah, at the moment it's weekly. That's what they're telling me. I feel like I'm reeling from one showcase to the next at the moment, but they're all clamoring to get out there again, which is dormant for a little while, but now they've come back with a vengeance. So they're like, she's working again. Let's make her work.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what they do. And they do, like I said, that little Buddha you sent me, a lot of energy for such a little Buddha. And yeah, and just remember, that's like something I want everybody to remember too. Just because a piece is smaller doesn't mean you need a bigger piece. Because sometimes you need to learn how to harness this huge energy. I have a piece of zincite. You know what zincite is.
Yeah, you haven't got it with you this time, have you? Because it
No,
bugged things right up last time.
Yeah, no, last time it blew the show up. I don't have it here. It's in the opposite room and it's buried right now. They're like little specks, and there are these little crystals that come from Poland. And when I tell you little, they're like little. Like I'm talking little. Where's my thumb? They're little. Okay. There is so much energy contained in these crystals, it would just blow your mind. I mean, it's just boggling to me how something so small can have such a big effect.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't mean because it's small, it's not as good as a bigger piece. And it doesn't mean that a huge piece is going to be better than a small piece.
Nice.
So pick what resonates with you.
Definitely.
Thank you so much again. I love you so much. Please continue to post and cross post all your stuff in the Wolf and the Bear Network over on the hauntings and over in Ghost Dimension, because everybody loves you and everybody wants to see what you have over there. And she's also a radio host.
I am. Yeah. I talk about the paranormal on a podcast called the Paranormal Concept Show, which is on the Paranormal UK Radio Network. We do a show a week. This week we talked about holy relics, funny enough. Oh, my Lord. Holy relics, as you do. And next week we're going to be talking about stigmata.
Oh, interesting.
So we're going down that road at the moment, having a look at that. But we cover every area of the paranormal. Myself, Richard Clements, and Mr. Paul Rook. We have that out, and it's a really good energy between the three of us. And
they can hear the podcast, because I saw the one that you had up about the holy relics, and because it was posted on a page, and I'm going to listen to it. I didn't catch it when it was live, so I want to listen to it. But where can everybody find those?
You can go over to Podbean. We're on there. Or if you're on my social media feed, then just click on the link. That will take you direct to the show. Or you can go to our website, which is paranormalconcept.com. And all the show links go up onto there. We're also on YouTube, Paranormal Concept. We're also on Spreaker, Paranormal Concept. In fact, we're like the show gets posted on Twitter everywhere it goes. So you can find the links there. But what I like about it is we research it, obviously, but then we'll go off on tangents, and it'll be concepts that strike us and thoughts when we've looked at something, the concept of that. I mean, we first started talking about the holy relic of the true cross, and that ended up in a theological discussion. And I was like, we haven't actually talked about the holy cross yet. Come on.
The three of you, I mean, I've listened to the three of you for a few years now, and it's easy for them to kind of go off in a direction because there's just so much to talk about. I mean, it's not just an easy sitting like, oh, let's talk about holy relics. I mean, I've watched anthropological series from National Geographic where they actually went and to look for, is this possibly the cross? And I've done research on it, and obviously I was I was adopted as a child, but I grew up, the family that adopted me were Roman Catholic. So, 12 years in Roman Catholic school, I kind of got, beat down with this is how it is. And that's not the way it was. I used to get in so much trouble in high school. I'm like, well, how do you know that's the only way, So to follow that, I'm really interested to listen to, and Paul, he's so scientific. I mean, him and I, we laugh all the time. But he's so scientific about stuff. And, we've had those discussions before too. So I can't wait to see it or listen to it. It'll be good.
It's a nice blend because you've got me, the believer, the spiritual believer. Then you've got like Richard, who's the historian type person. He loves his history. And you've got Paul, who's kind of like quite skeptical at times. And so you've got quite a lovely balance between the three of us on the show.
Well, not so much. I look at Paul, and yeah, he's skeptical, but he's science-based. A lot of what he does is science-based. And you need spiritually skeptical, like even spirit, right? And I don't like using the word ghost a lot to define spirit, even though I work with Sean and Bex and it's the ghost dimension. It's spirit to me. It's the human spirit that has transitioned. And, I've had discussions with Paul, even when you've done other shows, where he's like, well, how do you believe it? It's like faith. I know because I know what I hear. I know what I see. Yeah. Well, how do we know that's what you see and hear? Well, you don't have to believe it, I suppose. It's my opinion, I guess, in some ways, but it's also part of who I am. So that is my truth. So, but Paul is never like, okay, well, she's just out of her gourd and doesn't know. That's not Paul. But Paul gives you the skeptical, scientific side of things that makes you ponder and weigh things out so that you can form good
balanced opinions. Exactly. I sent him a challenge recently because we were talking spiritually one night and he couldn't get his head around it. And I said, do it, try it, see what happens. And he did his own spiritual experience. He sat with a working medium and she taught him, started him off on that journey, that fundamentals. He's written blogs on it. They're on the paranormalconcept.com webpage. Fascinating from somebody who's really not believing in spirit, as it were, to go through that process and try and explain some of the things he got when he was doing it. And he's definitely going down more, he's more balanced, I think, having gone through that experience. But no, it is a good balance between the three of us, definitely. And the tables are going to be turned soon, everybody, because I've got Bear, Sean and Bex coming on to the Paranormal Concept Show with myself, Richard and Paul, to have a 2-hour discussion. We're going to be pre-recording that next week, but that's going to be coming with you guys shortly. So the tables will be turned, and I'll be interviewing them guys. So you can see my other hat that I wear.
Well, and with that said, I kind of laugh because spirit makes stuff happen. It's not even really a belief. It's just part of my life. So the fact that they're around and, it's like I had somebody the other night that challenged me and, I don't have a problem with people challenging me about stuff. It's like, how can you do reads with people that you just see their names and you pull a card and then that's just crazy. And then I'll have the people that I did the read for who said it was crazy come back and say, how did you know that? How did I go? I didn't know it. It's spirit. It doesn't matter where you are. Spirit can connect to you. The card is just a tool, right, to bring you a little bit closer in to be able to relate to somebody. I don't have to know them. The message isn't for me. The message is for the person getting the read. So yeah, it'll be an interesting show.
It's going to be amazing. I can't wait. I literally can't wait. It's been a while since I interviewed you. And Sean and Bex, so they're bonkers. Totally.
Oh yeah, they're like my kids. I love them dearly, and it's all about positivity. With them, and that's what is the big push right now for me. Is life can be positive as we make it, and we surround ourselves with positive people, And I'm not saying everything is good and, great all the time. That's not it. But you have people around you that will help lift you up and get you through those times. You just have to allow them to do so. So, great. All right. Well, I love you, girl. And thank you for being here again on Spiritually Paranormal. And thank you for bringing all your wonderful little friends, your crystals and your stones and your gems, and obviously your knowledge. And take care until next time. Yeah?
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in today. And remember to tune in again next time here on Spiritually Paranormal. Remember also to share, like, and subscribe and become part of a growing family on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. My name is Bear Medicinewalker, and I approve of this message.
I love that last bit. That man that does that